Good evening and welcome to the program The Desk on Global Television. Indeed, it's the first day of August 2024 and the D-Day is finally here as Nigerians and the world all over has been looking forward to this very historic day where the hashtag End Bad Governance protest has been brewing, and it did happen. So we'll be focusing squarely on the issue of the protest in Nigeria, but also not just to let you out completely on the global scene. We also know that a major prisoner exchange between Russia and the US and 4 European countries is underway in Ankara. The Turkish presidency has confirmed that 3 US citizens imprisoned in Russia. Wall Street Journal reporter, US Marine veteran Paul Whelan, and Russian-American radio journalist Arsu are thought to be among those being released. In total, the exchange will involve at least 24 prisoners. That's on the global scene. But fast forward, coming down to Nigeria, it's all about the August 1st protest, where paid anti-protesters arrived at the Moshood Abiola Stadium. At least 11 buses filled with no protesters arriving at the premises of the National Stadium. Across board, also know that the hashtag End Bad Governance protest did shout down the minister at the Eagles Square. Also, going forward, we also know that police did arrest journalists and protesters in Calabar. Several journalists and activists have been beaten, handcuffed, and taken by security agents to unknown locations in Calabar, Cross River State. That's a report reaching us. And also, moving on to other parts of the country, we also know that youth in Sokoto State on Thursday morning trooped out in large numbers to join their counterparts from across the country in national protest against hunger. Nigerians are protesting against economic hardship. Also in Borno State, it wasn't good news as the police have imposed a 24-hour curfew in Borno State after 16 people were killed and 20 others injured in a suicide attack, all happening the first day of Eve to August 1st. And also still talking about the hashtag End Bad Governance, hoodlums did attack uncommissioned NCC office in Kano. The police in Kano State said sections of the Digital Industrial Park of the Nigerian Communications Commission in Kano State was attacked by protesters on Thursday. Very sad commentary there as regards things playing out. All right, those are some of the highlights of the update of the protest going on. We'll be playing you some footage as regards what played out in the Federal Capital Territory. And after that footage, I will return back to the live studios where I've got my colleague Edikan Michael for also to x-ray what we saw on ground today as we covered the August 1st protest. Stay with us.
All right, what started as a peaceful demonstration earlier today has been met with a lot of resistance by the security agencies. The peaceful protesters moved from the Moshood Abiola Stadium down here to the Federal Secretariat, but unfortunately, the police started using tear gas against them, dispersing them, and sending them out of the Secretariat. The protesters are saying and insisting that they are here for a peaceful protest to make their voices heard by the government. Anthony Mamodu, what is your analysis on what is actually playing out right now?
Obviously, we can tell that the government is making true its threat earlier on to meet the peaceful protest by Nigerians with force. And we've seen that happen. That was the same thing that played out when the EndSARS protest occurred. But this time around, Nigerians are talking about very critical issues. One of them being the fact that the cost of living is very high, the insecurity ravaging the country, and also the electoral process to be cleaner and more transparent.
You can see obviously that the tear gas are being fired at the peaceful protesters, and again this is the second one, and then we are seeing 4 shots that has been taken now by the security agents, and then it's showing that the government itself is not wanting to have this protest peacefully.
Tear gas shoots against the protesters, peaceful protesters saying enough is enough to governor, poor governance, enough to hardship, and enough to anger. And that's the demonstration right there. The peaceful protesters are pushing forward their demands to get the attention of the government, but the security agencies are shooting tear gas against them, resisting them from getting their demands just to the authorities. But It is, of course, just like on Liver Twist, it's never enough for them. The protest still persists for the next 10 days right here at the Federal Capital Territory. We're live here to give you some update and reactions of the people on what's happening. Video.
We don't tire. Nigerians don't tire. We don't too suffer. They should bring back subsidy. They should bring back everything that they've lost. We've lost so many things.
Government should stop changing shadow. Tinubu's administration should stop changing shadow. The sponsor of this protest is hunger, anger, corruption, starvation. We are here to demand for good governance. We are here to make trouble. We are here to demand for good governance. Unfortunately, there are certain things in us. The good is no retreat, no surrender.
It's the right of every citizen. The citizen of this country has the right to protest. We are going on our human rights. This is our human right. We have to do that.
All right, that's just for you to have a feel of what went down in the Federal Capital Territory as Global Television went to town to cover the August 1st protest. Eddie and Michael, you were there live, and let's look at what we saw at the stadium where Deji Adeyanju spoke to us as regards his fears about the 11 buses of pro-sponsored protesters who came in the drones trying to distort the peaceful protests we saw initially. And we also saw the FCT Commissioner of Police, Ben Igwe, who was trying to tactically force the protesters into the stadium, which they refused vehemently. Just give us a rundown of your view.
What really started as a peaceful demonstration, I understand that we're earlier at the Eagle Square as at about 7 a.m. to understand the situation on place, but we saw that there was a heavy security. You earlier reported that in the morning program. Of course, towards around 10 a.m. we visited the Marshal Abiola Stadium, understanding the fact that there was a court order restraining that protesters in the FCT should carry out their demonstration at the Marshal Abiola Stadium. So we arrived there, but the two incidents just play out. The FCT command were trying to push the protesters inside the stadium, saying that the order is that you must be inside the stadium. And the protesters are saying, you restricted us from Eagle Square. We are now in the Marshal Abiola Stadium. Around the stadium.
We are not playing football.
We are not playing football. We should be allowed to protest peacefully at where we are. So in a play of event where we also saw 11 buses arriving in the same arena to counter their protests. And then we asked them silent questions.
Yes, that's an interesting part.
Why are you choosing the same venue where you see people that are already coming to make the demonstration? Why are you choosing the same time? Why are you choosing, the same location and all of those things? Are you not trying to spice up, to bring in conflict of interest and all of that for another hijacking?
And he gave you an interesting answer. He said they were trying to protect, and you asked him, that's why the Nigerian police...
Because I understand it's their right to protest. I mean, if you to disagree with other Nigerians who are saying yes to protest. Yes, it's good that you're saying no to protest. But why should you choose the same venue that people who already organize themselves out to give them an order to be in that location to protest in a demonstration of the hunger, the hardship, and the bad governance in the country? So this is always a situation. Sometimes we see that some people are used or groups are always sponsored.
Not to cut you short, we did ask them silent questions as regards were they hungry too?
They are also feeling what their response was.
Yes, they were hungry.
It was laughable actually.
And somebody on that side said they were waiting for their monies. So it
was laughable because we saw some of them say, I'm hungry, but you're using the placard writing no to protest. So some of them don't even understand why they were there. We've seen, earlier this week, we saw that some group of women were earlier at the Eagle Square saying no to protest. We are saying no to protest. But at the end of the day, we saw videos of some of those women saying that we were brought to Eagle Square. We were paid to be here. We were asked to be here. So we do not even know the placards we are using. Our children are hungry. Our siblings are down in the villages, insecurity in the farms, and all of those things. So when you look at some of these indices and crises, you understand that probably those people that are sponsoring this is a wrong PR in the part of government, because it looks as if government is trying to, counter this protest, but in the wrong way, I must say.
All right, very sad commentary there. We'll be going for a very quick break, and we've got Toba Owojayi, who will be joining us in the live studios to get his own perspective as a media aide and also a political aide, to get his own perspective as regards what he has seen going through in terms of the August 1st protest. How successful was it or not? Edikan, before I let you go, for you, how do you see this panning out? This was supposed to be August 1st to 10th. Do you see this growing more, or you think the government has succeeded in dousing the confidence of Nigeria?
I mean, we must also advocate the fact that there is need for the people to do more. We've seen visuals and pictures from Kano State where residents are out to break into some government properties, looting out computers, chairs, and other government properties. No, that's not the demonstration. I mean, we must condemn that. And of course, we are saying that the original interest of the people were to demonstrate a protest. I mean, a way of just walking, saying no to hunger, using the placards. It shouldn't reach violence. We were tear gas. I mean, we've also seen the fact that we're victims of the tear gas that the police were shooting against the people. We were
almost 10 canisters were shot at us.
So we had to receive those things. But the many questions we ask again, should that be how the police, the security agencies should go about it? Yes, I understand you're trying to disperse people from, having an entrance to where the seat of power is in the country. But what other steps can they do in a way of trying to solve the immediate problem that these people are demanding? Because the demands are there. The people are saying that the hunger is too much. You have to look at the issues of subsidy removal. If there's a need for you to revisit that policy and probably have to reverse the policy again, it might be a way of reducing the hardship of the country. So it has resolved because, one, it has gotten the attention of government, it has gotten the attention of international community. A lot of people are aware of this issue. A lot of people are interacting on this issue. It's also putting tensions on the part of government, because look at the issue of the fact that the Federal Secretariat have been closed down. No government officials is there. The National Assembly have also been barricaded. No entrance to there. So it means that every activities in government have been shut down in the view of this. So they have gotten the attention. And I must say, yes, the youth might have gotten the attention of government. They have pressed on their demand, but it's also time that they might also consider another option, which probably may be a dialogue system, so that to get more interactions and policies formulated out of this.
All right, thank you, Edikan. Michael, that's how much we're going to take from Michael as he gets set up for the big talk coming up soon. All right, we'll go for a very quick break. When we return from the break, we've got Toba Owojayi joining me in the live studios. Stay with us. Is the desk on Global Television?
Nigeria. Come join Anthony Momadou on television's most compelling and facts-finding talk live show.
We are definitely because
that this country gets it right.
Who are these bandits? It's the Dex on Global Television, where we analyze and dissect storming issues and commentaries in the world's biggest black nation, Nigeria.
Who is being held accountable for this money?
The eyes have it.
We stay and decide policies and reforms on the Dex. Tune in Mondays to Fridays, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Global Television. Let's stay on the Dex.
Police are not being civil against Nigerians who are not armed, shooting as much as 6 to 10 tear gases canister against Nigerian youths just to stop them from protesting. And this is one of the things that the ECOWAS courts did find the federal government and the security agencies guilty of, the fact that they shot at Nigerian peaceful protesters, unarmed protesters in Lagos during the NSAS protest. And same thing is repeating itself right here in the federal capital territory. Odi Samuel, what's your take as regards the fact that the Nigerian police force waited for the Nigerian youths to come close before they unleashed at least 10 canisters of tear gas against us?
It's been very, very chaotic by the Nigerian police because the protesters are only marching and saying one word: we are hungry, we are hungry. Without arms, without placards, just crying, we are hungry. And then the Nigerian police fired up to 10 to 11 shots at harmless Nigerian protesters. So
even with the media
it's been chaotic, don't minding that the media is there. So we have everything on tape, and we're hoping that the government will just come and then answer this simple cry: cut down the cost of living for Nigerians. That's all the protesters are crying for. Yes.
All right, that's some of the updates as regards the protests taking place in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Is the desk on Global Television.
Nigeria. Come join Anthony Momodu on television's most compelling and facts-finding talk live show.
We are the Palestinians. We are the Canaan because
that this country gets it right.
Who are these bandits?
It's the Dex on Global Television, where we analyze and dissect storming issues and commentaries in the world's biggest black nation, Nigeria.
Who is being held accountable for this money?
The eyes have it.
We stay and decide policies and reforms on Dex. Tune in Mondays to Fridays, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Global Television. Let's stay on the Dex.
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofrebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Get in on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight.
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on Global Televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
With every government and introduction of new policies, businesses of all kinds and sizes seize the opportunity to evolve and redefine themselves. Business Point on Global Television is where we follow the money and put the facts and figures right in front of you. Watch Business Point every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. as Kikelamo Okeri tracks all the latest developments across critical sectors. Business Point. This is business.
Are you ready to be entertained like never before? Get ready to dive into the latest and greatest entertainment news in lifestyle, music, movies, birthday celebrations.
All right, welcome back from the break. You're still watching the desk on Global Television. It's no news that is August 1st, 2024. And we're looking at the national protest taking place in Nigeria. While we went for that quick break, I got Toba Owojai joining us in the studio, and also got Splendor joining us in the studio. He is the ED Initiative for Leadership and Economic Watch in Nigeria, looking in his traditional attire, I guess both of them. Okay, gentlemen, let's look at, finally the D-Day is here. How would we assess, we saw the footage where security agencies shooting as much as 5, 6, 7 canisters of tear gas at yours truly and other Nigerian protesters who were not armed. Seeming to instigate the protesters to throw back those tear gases and cans, and also almost making it turn violent. How would you assess the protest thus far? Owojai,
So that would be quite unfortunate if the protesters are unarmed and are not instigating any violence. But I came from Kubwa, and what I saw was different sets of youths trying to burn tires on the street, not from Kubwa to Gwarimpa, to Jahi Junction, to Katampe Junction, and some of them even having to go and get fuel from AA Rano that was shut down to burn things on the road, and they had to take the military to remove them off the road, and they were even extorting cars that were passing one by one. So you see, what we have is a recipe for disaster. It's a melting point for disaster, where you have hunger, you have anger, and you have people on both sides that just want a little spark for trouble. So it's good that we protest. It's good that we air our views. We need to get more educated people, more civilized people to lead this protest. So it's not a protest of touts. It's not a protest of people that you cannot control. We can only tell them go. We can't tell them to come back. These are the matters that... What was different about the NSAS was that the NSAS was a movement of young elites. You could see the audience. You could see people who you knew had very good jobs but wanted better life. These are what we are saying. We need to really plan this properly. Whoever is behind it needs to come out more, bring out more civilized people to lead this movement. I can go to a protest and for the next 7 years, I will not raise a stone.
All right.
But some people cannot.
But looking at, because I was there,
yes.
the protesters didn't raise a stone. They were not, besides there were barricades between them and the security agents.
You are talking about where you are. I was talking about where I was.
I'm driving somewhere.
Yes.
Looking at what happened where the security agencies had to, fire tear gas. It's not just one, but they did it sporadically. And they had like 6, 7 of them shooting from different directions, some from the Federal Secretariat back and forth, so like trying to catch the people in the middle. Wasn't that going too far, especially when the persons were not armed?
Yeah, that's going too far. You see, I have to point out many things to you. There were people coming in from Maraba and saying they were trying to head to Secretariat to protest. And the police said, you are coming from Maraba, which is Nasarawa State. Find a place there and do your protest. The same thing we had people, like I said, I just told you, coming from Dede. You go say they want to do their own protest in Aso Rock. So this Secretariat is very close to the National Assembly. See, you can easily say.
Do you think it's because the people feel if they're closer to power, the people, the presidency, the lawmakers would hear them, knowing fully well that the protest is close by? And some have said, why is it that the opposition party, the PDP, Labour parties, didn't join forces to make their voices? Like you said, we need people, more civilized people, to lead this protest. Do you think it was fair on the part of the opposition party not to seem to be involved in helping Nigeria get better governance?
No, this is not about getting Nigeria better governance. We are not children again. We, as a politician, you must see beyond letters. You must see beyond who is organizing this. This has to be clear. If there's a sinister motive behind it, then everybody cannot jump on that bus. These are the things that must be clear, because when you said that Tinubu protested before, people said Falana protested. These are names. These are people that something goes wrong, you can hold him. You led this protest and this happened. You don't have that in this case. You cannot tell who is leading this. You cannot tell what is motivating 2,000 boys to leave Dede and head to Asu Rock. And where they were stopped, they began to stone the soldiers. So this, and I'm saying this is a melting point for disaster. This is my personal opinion.
When you keep saying who is leading the protest, are you indirectly saying you do not agree that this protest was engineered by hunger and sufferings of Nigerians? These are led by Nigerian youth. Do they need a leader for them to speak out?
Yes, you need a leader, please.
To speak out that you're hungry.
You can speak out on your Twitter handle, you can speak out on your street. But when you want to shut down a system for 10 days, you need a leader. This is not, it's like saying you're going to a football tournament and you don't want to know your captain.
Have we gotten Deji Nju? We saw him as part of the conveners at the National Stadium. Is that someone who is a learned person? Are you saying he's not good enough to have led for him to be there because he's part of the organizers?
Yes, he is a very wonderful person. He's somebody I know personally.
But you're aware he's part of the conveners?
Yes.
So why do you keep saying
that's what I'm saying?
We don't have a face to. Is he not?
He has
an
not
activist
owned,
well known.
He has not owned.
But he was there in person.
Yes, but he has not
never
owned
denied
the
being part
protests.
of it.
He has not owned the protest. I know him personally. He has not owned the protest. He's a part of the protest. I also held a leave coming here. So I am also part of the protest.
He was there with the branded shirt. He has always spoken. He was part of those who had meetings with the security agencies. What kind of other proof? Femi Falana was also met with the IGP in closed-door meeting as regards this protest.
Yes.
So what kind of proof else do you need? Or are you giving us a political answer?
I don't know what answer you want me to say apart from what I've said.
Because when you keep saying you want a name, and these are persons who had a meeting with the Inspector General of Police as regards this protest, that shows you they're part of and parcel of it.
You are not getting my point where I said tires were being
No, we're not talking about the tires, because you kept mentioning you needed a face before the opposition parties can join the protest or seem to support the protest, not necessarily join it.
You see, if you have led people, if you have led 100 people, you are responsible for 100 people per time.
Okay.
If you have led 5 million people, you are responsible. You cannot just jump into something without enough information. There are things they know that you do not know. Take it from me.
All right, as the ED of the Initiative for Leadership and Economic Watch in Nigeria, what kind of criteria do Nigerians need to express their grievances? Do we need the same leaders who have let us down for them to speak out?
You see, Mr. Anthony, if you want to take into records the damages that have been made today, being the first day of the protest, you will agree with me that it was needless for this protest to have held, because it's not going to bring about economic development. It's not going to return fuel back to 185 naira. Nothing can be done in a hurry. We are talking about the economy of the nation.
Did we see that protest in Kenya reverse the tax policy in Kenya? Did it reverse it or not?
If it has to do with tax policy,
it's still about
policies.
redress.
Policies that are not working can be redressed with time.
So are you saying all the policies of the federal government, none of them can be reversed?
We are not talking about redress. Maybe re-engineer redirected properly.
You're just using terminology.
No. Let's be frank, Mr.
But you're not being frank here. The
we are not saying the
citizens.
We are not saying the citizens should not protest. They have the right to protest. It is enshrined in the Constitution.
So, but you just said a few minutes ago that it was needless
because of the associated crises that will follow, which you will never envisage the level of damage that will be made, the magnitude of damage, of impact that will be made in the end. Do you know how many people that have died in the course of this protest? Can the purpose of this protest return back those lives that have been lost?
Are you saying people have not been dying before? This is one of the reasons.
No, people. There's no need for people to continue to die. There's no need for people to continue to die.
All the protests didn't end up in violence, did it?
There are pockets of violence across the nation at the subnational level.
So
in my state, there is protest. There were a lot of Kanu is burning as I speak to you. Kanu is burning. Do you know the billions of naira is lost right now? There's looting going on in Kanu. So would that solve the problem?
My question to you,
would that solve the situation?
Have the leaders allegedly not been looting even without protest? Did they need protest to loot?
Okay, you said the leader.
There are content general of the federation that looted money. Did he need a protest to loot that money? Wasn't it for the Nigerian people?
But what was the action of government in respect to his looting? Was he not arrested? Is he not facing the court? Is the government are they closing their hands? Watching
you want to interject. You have the right to interject.
What we are saying, we are not saying don't protest. To protest is a right, it's right in the Constitution. What we are saying, let us be more civil. Nigerians have already ventilated their displeasure over the bad policies, as we call it. But it's enough. Government have held it.
Are you saying you agree totally with all the policies of government? That it's been not.
I'm not saying I agree totally to all the policies of government. What we are saying is that the action that we are taking will not solve any problem.
So, which action would solve the problem?
The purpose of these protests is to talk to government about the pains and the challenge that the citizens are faced with.
Okay.
Which they have ventilated already.
Okay.
Government has taken those concerns into cognizance to see how a solution can be provided.
Do you agree with him, or he's being politically correct when he says government are taking this? The government had to take this in cognizance when they knew the protest was at hand.
You see, the protest pressured the government. The government has had many meetings in this regard. And of course, we've had many of the people who are supposed to be senators and leaders. Many have already traveled. The police had to remove most of the security that they had with elite and organizations to man the streets. The protest is necessary. Protest is a form of airing out.
So you disagree with him?
No, I'm not saying this is my position.
Okay.
I'm not necessarily agreeing or disagreeing. I'm saying the protest is necessary. Protest is a way of communication. But we look at the peculiarity of Nigeria. We look at the peculiarity of hunger. Presently, we look at the anger. You see, IBB said something, and I always quote him in a video I watched. They asked him, why did he not make a move to remove Buhari 1 year earlier? He said, we had to wait 1 year because the people were not angry enough. So, you see, what you are seeing, there are brains behind the stage. There are strategic people thinking who have brought the anger on ground is large enough for a revolution and a toppling of government. There are those sets of people. Those people don't just show up. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I am trying to tell you.
You have the right to interject.
This is what I'm telling you, that the political parties are aware about. They are not kids.
Do you know the economic implication of grounding the economy for 10 days, even 1 day? Do you know what the nation will be losing?
Do
you know the resultant effect of grounding an economy for 1 day?
With what you're saying, if it's that big, why do you think the government had to wait this long before taking
Government
the
has been consulting. Government has been dialoguing. Government has been reaching out. You can agree with me that government has been reaching out.
That's when
they are not saying that there's no hunger. There's hunger.
To the protest.
There's no hunger. There's hunger. I'm not saying that there's no hunger. There is hunger. But government has been dialoguing. Government has been trying to see how it can talk to the people. Because
did it come too late?
Yes, I agree. It came rather late. You see, some of the policies the government made are things I've said here on air like 6-8 months ago. Open the border. This food cannot be farmed overnight. Food takes at least 90 seasons to get it functional.
True.
If we don't have it because of insecurity that has lingered for like 12 years, we can't all start farming immediately. Not everybody will take their hoe immediately and rush to the farm. Insecurity has not even been wiped away completely. What is the courage of those farming? But some states have begun to farm. Niger has begun to farm. Baga in Borno State has not farmed for 13 years. They began to farm this season. This farming will give us food soon, but not immediately. So what the president needed to do then was open the borders for food to flood in. They didn't do that immediately. They didn't want to open the border because if you open the border, other things can come in. They now lifted the ban. So lifting the ban has helped, but it will not give you an immediate... See, this protest, the only thing the president can do in this protest is release Nnamdi Kanu. I heard that was one of the requests, though it's political. I don't understand how that's part of the protest. The request here, he can reverse the
fuel subsidy.
These are the things within his control. But there's not much he can do about food.
Do you think he's going to do that? These two things he mentioned. And on the other note,
I want to believe that the government will not be insensitive at this moment when they see the reality that is practical, that everybody can see, not to attend to those concerns already raised by the citizens. Those concerns affect you and I. Even me, I'm affected in those concerns. You understand? What I'm saying is that there are better ways to ventilate displeasure and hunger, not on this destructive mood.
Okay.
What we are saying, violent protest is what we go against. We are not saying citizens should not protest.
Obviously.
Violence. Let it not lead to destruction of properties and life and properties.
Okay,
imagine my colleague just said that they have been burning tire from day to Katape and all of that. Do you know the implication of burning a tire on the quota? It will burn the laterite. In a short while, those points where those things were burnt will become a portal. Is that what we are looking for? Okay. Is that the solution?
Okay, let's look at going forward. After this first day of protest, do you expect some quick reactions from the federal government and also for security agents across board? How would you assess their performance in handling the protest?
I can tell you that government is already taking actions. It's just that you can't see it when there's readiness, when there's chaos, when there's crisis. You will be able to see those steps that the government have already taken.
But it can be announced for people to hear.
Government has, at all levels, government has been making promises of what he is going to do in order to alleviate the
have they
crisis.
been keeping to them?
Give government time. Tinubu is just 1 year in office. 1 year is not enough to assess a government. I think the Nigerians people have to be patient. I mean, be patient a little and see what this government can offer. It's not about going to the street.
Do you agree with him that they need more time?
Truly, I believe the government needs more time. It's like taking out a new coach. A football team takes on a new coach. There's going to be some changes.
Definitely.
I live in Kubwa. The road of my street has never been done in time memorial. But the road has now been done, and while the road was done, a lot of junctions were being blocked when that road was being blocked. Some of us couldn't move our cars from our houses for days and weeks. There are people who had to park their car elsewhere and find a way to come back home. But after 3-6 months, that road has been fixed. That road has become a busy business point. So sometimes to repair, you have to spoil in some way. Nigeria has... There's no nation that has not had this time. Germany had it. China had it. India had it.
So
USA had it.
If that's the case,
we are in a repair state.
Okay.
Is it painful? Yes.
I asked the question again in terms of now you've buttressed my point that countries have this moment. Nigerians had to go through this moment also to pass a message to the government that seem not to listen and understand what they go through. What do you think security agencies can do to further not trigger more violence?
Their role is to play. Yes.
Please do not burn tires. Please do not have venues where you see
there are designated areas for protest.
Venues. Have venues for this protest. Let us know where you would be part time, so we can watch it, so that you don't have other people, other producers and miscreants mess it up. Address people. Let the press be able to go there and address the people and speak with the police and see us being civil. This is not a fight. This is end bad governance.
Did you agree with Obi Ekwesili and other Nigerians who said the government did set the tone for some form of violence we saw on the first day by trying to intimidate people with their comments and show of force by security agencies across different states, not just one state?
You can't expect the Nigerian police to fold their hands when they see that a nation that is about to cause crisis. They will mitigate it. They will dispel the people. That's their constitutional role, is to ensure there is order in society.
Kinetic and non-kinetic. Why haven't they also applied the other form? Must it be show of force?
It is. I don't see the show of force.
Truly, they have not even.
I watched the video where the policeman was attacked. Yes, in this protest, a policeman was attacked. In this protest. I sincerely appreciate the level of civility in terms of the way Nigerian police are carrying out their work even during these protests, because I expected more.
On my way coming here, I was more afraid.
Why say you expected more? You expected them to kill Nigerians?
No, more of protection, as in more of civility.
Okay.
Not to. I mean, that kinetic force. They should not even show. It is the citizens that are provoking the security operatives.
See, on my way here, I was more.
Were you at any protest ground today?
Yes, I visited some areas where they were protesting to just observe what is happening. It is the citizens that are throwing stones. They are trying to provoke the security operatives.
Let's not call them citizens. You see, they are part of this. As I was on my way here, I was more scared of the boys along the streets that were burning the tires than the police and the soldier. I even felt some degree of safety, to be honest. You see, people are hungry. People are angry. This two alone.
Two wrongs cannot make a right.
It's a recipe for disaster.
All right,
and if we drag it 10 days with this, and let's say 2 people die from a community for whatever reason, we will have this escalate. Well, see, okay, let me backtrack a bit. When Deborah Tanko was killed for a religious blasphemy in Sokoto, we saw Igbo people's shops in Kaduna and some other states get burnt the next day. What is the direct nexus between a lady in Sokoto that is from Adamawa State and Igbo shops in Kaduna? But I want you to understand, Nigeria has many underlying connecting wires. That if you are not careful, a crisis that happens in Maiduguri can lead directly to Rivers State. So these are the reasons why we are begging for caution.
The economy.
We are telling the government, look at there's a part the government must hear. Look at the demands of these people. Like release NSAS protesters. That can be done tonight.
Yes.
The government should do that. There's no reason to hold those boys or girls for 4 years. Whoever has held them, they can release them tonight. That can be met.
Okay.
Look at the needs. Look at what has been determined.
Raised also.
If I was the president, I have given Dangote some hand. We are looking for more refineries. What they need to do, get Serap, get Brekete FM, get Deji, Adeyanju, people who the people trust. Get 5 more of those people. Let them take them on a tour, and the media houses, to the 3 refineries they say they are working on. Take them to a tour to Dangote refinery. Let them give us the truth about the state of those refineries. Is the president repairing these refineries? These people will not lie to us. They will not side the government against us. Let them take them to those refineries and let them give us their honest individual opinion on the state of the refineries. If the government is just shifting goalposts, they will tell us.
Okay,
those are not people that are small that the government can bribe us.
All right, let's move on to after the first day. What are your expectations?
My passionate appeal.
Wrap up.
My passionate appeal to protesters. There's no need to continue. This that we have seen, the horror that we have seen already, this first day of protest, is not something that we should allow to continue beyond this point. Because no matter how you look at it, the ripple effect of continuation of this protest, you yourself, you will not be happy to see the horror that will happen afterward. My appeal to citizens, they have ventilated their displeasure. They have spoken their mind. Government have listened. They have heard their concerns. What we should do now as civil society is to also call on government to see how they can speed in action of those concerns that have been raised and see how some of these concerns can be resolved.
All right, in 1 minute, would you be expecting Mr. President to talk to the citizen today?
I thought he would do that on a day 2 or a day 3, watching to see, because he cannot speak too many times. He has to speak when he can meet some demands. And where you are a president, you cannot speak at every moment. And he has done a lot to prevent this.
If need be, it's
yes,
not a seat. It's not against the
rule. I don't think this protest will not continue tomorrow.
You think it would?
I believe it will continue tomorrow. I think the president may address them tomorrow night, depending on if the situation is still curtailed. If the situation is still curtailed, they may still allow it 1 more day. But it won't go beyond 3 days, in my opinion. The government will find parts of those demands that they can meet. The government will find some of the leaders of the protest and bring them to a round table and see what can be met.
All right,
and we want to thank the Nigerians for their patience. Please, we must state that.
We are appealing to them. We are not telling them that.
A lot of them have been civil.
We are appealing to them.
A few
it's a passionate appeal to Nigerians. Let them listen to the voice of reasoning.
But please,
and see how we can curtail the crisis that we are looking at that is going to happen if care is not taken.
All right, Owojayi says he still has his leave outside. It means you have to carry the green leave to show support for the End Bad Governance protest going on in the world's biggest black nation, Nigeria. I want to say a big thank you to Toba Owojayi, who is a political aide and a public affairs analyst, for joining us in the live studios to his views as regards the August 1st protest, and not forgetting the ED of the Initiative for Leadership and the Economic Watch in Nigeria. Splendor is his name. You can see he has got a lot of splendor on behalf of the federal government. And I want to say, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me in the studios. All right, my name is Anthony Momodu, saying thank you for joining me on the program, The Desk on Global Television. Upcoming next is going to be News Cycle. Stay with us.